Okay, we're going to call the meeting to order at 6:30. We do have a quorum. Hello, everybody. Hello. Close up here. If we would all please stand and for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And our invocation.
Bow your heads. Our Heavenly Father, thank you so much for the time we have here together to work towards the good of our community, our school, our kids, and guide and direct us as we go through the meeting and protect us as we all disperse to go home. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Jimmy. And Charles Halverson will read the mission.
The mission of Gatesville ISD, a portal to limitless possibilities, is to empower our students to be life-ready knowledge seekers and problem solvers by instilling leadership, innovation, integrity, critical thinking, and service through challenging and engaging learning experiences facilitated by passionate teachers and supported by caring parents and community members.
Thank you. And tonight we are spotlighting some community members.
Our first meeting in probably, I guess it was 14 months that we spotlighted a visitor. And who better than Lee and Josh? Anybody? No, I'm joking. Lee and Josh, these guys do a fantastic job. So all during the pandemic, we had to start streaming everything. And Ricky, we hit these guys up and they started everything from academic, was just athletics, then it became academics. And here just recently, NHS, there's Lee. I mean, it doesn't matter. And I love the really, aside from all that, the banter between these two guys. If you listen to them on Morgan Radio, it's fun to listen to. And so I couldn't think of two better people to have our inaugural back to celebrating some of our community partners than these two guys, because y'all put in a lot of extra time and effort, and we wanted to tell y'all how much we appreciate it. And we got you a fancy certificate too. So are you ready for a photo op? All right, David, you go put this in the paper? Okay, well, we'll do it. Let's give these guys a round of applause. Lee?
No one's getting up.
Congratulations. Either I can do it, if y'all want to do it with me.
You go right
Just me.
ahead.
Okay.
Yes, that's beautiful.
They're still hiding behind COVID. Yeah, we can do it on the background here.
Oh, it's good. See, we wouldn't all fit.
Take off your hat, Josh.
Can you hold up the certificates?
All right, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate
They didn't stay. Surprise, surprise. I told them they could leave.
I've got stuff to go with.
They do. They do.
Okay, are there any public comments?
Not that I know of. Any public comments? Okay. We're good.
Do I need to read this? I don't need to read this.
If there's not any, I don't think,
I didn't think so.
because they're not.
Okay. We will go on with the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Jimmy? Second? Cheyenne? Are there any questions about the consent agenda? Okay, all those in favor, raise your hand. None opposed. Okay, thank you. Motion carries. Information items. Student athlete academic all-state recipients.
So we've got Ricky here tonight to go over all those student athletes who did well in both areas.
Both areas. We have 20 seniors, and all these requirements tonight involve senior athletes. We have 20, but they took up 38 spots. So this is through the Texas High School Coaches Association and the Texas Girls Coaches Association. and on your board, also the Texas Hoop magazine. But this is not just for anybody. This isn't the average honor roll. To be on the THSCA, you have to have a GPA of 92 or above for all 4 years. It also includes your class rank, your SAT and ACT scores. So you've got to really be a pretty smart, young man, young woman to be on there. Same thing for the TGCA, requires a GPA of 94 or above. So we have we don't have a ton of seniors in our senior class that are involved in athletics, but we are recognizing, quite a few tonight. Again, 20 kids in 38 spots. Normally we would bring them here and parade them in, let you see them in person. We just aren't doing it right now. But I would like to call out their names real quick, just for the video purpose here. Our girl athletes are Aubrey Barcroft, Jenna Binskin, Emma Blakely, Caitlin Chacon, Jenna Coward, Sydney Gilbreth, Brady Hollingsworth, Alea Jones, Kate Smalley, Shelby Stature, Kendall Villagrana, and Ainsley Warren. Our boy athletes are Dylan Charles, Ben Hollingsworth, Fabian Ibarra, Jaron Pointer, Jager Smith, Toby Sustak, Shy Tatum, and Caden Walls. And if you look at that 20 athletes in 38 spots, what that really points to is so many of these young men and young women are multi-sport kids. They're not, we have some single sport athletes on here, but most of these, probably at least 3/4 of that list, are involved in more than one sport. And also on that list, not just athletics, they're involved in academics, everything on our campus, which is great, which is what we want to have. So we're proud of them, proud of what they accomplish, and proud of how they represent Gatesville High School and Gatesville ISD.
Tell you what, Ricky, to maintain a 92 or above, plus all those varsity sports, that is tough.
It is good. I mean, that's a very elite group right there, and to have that many says a lot about what's going on over there. It is. It sure does.
Give them our
Yeah.
appreciation and congratulations.
Absolutely. Will do.
Thank you, Ricky.
Thank y'all.
You're dismissed.
Thank you.
He's leaving too. Nobody wants to stay.
Mr. Frazier, don't get up.
Yeah.
Health insurance premiums.
All right, Daryl, you're up.
Okay. Good evening, board. It's good to see you all around the great table again. Quite a distinguished group of folks, which you are. So my first presentation tonight is about the healthcare premiums, and I was hoping to be able to report those to you. However, they have not been released. I have given you in the board book 2 bills that are before the current legislature: Senate Bill 1444 and House Bill 4078, which are attempting to close a loophole that a lot of insurance companies have been taking advantage of to underbid TRS and in effect kind of rake off the healthy groups and leave TRS with the less healthy groups. So you know what that means? That means leaving TRS with a bigger bill and causing TRS to excessively increase their rates. So we're hoping, if you have any contacts with any of the legislatures, to mention these 2 bills. We would like to see these passed and approved by the governor, kind of protect the TRS system. And they will not release the rates until after the June 3rd board meeting of TRS. So at the next board meeting, I'll have the insurance rates prepared for you. It's about a $2.5 million cost item, about $1.5 million coming from the general funds and some of the grant funds. And of course, we also have, as a school district, we pay a good portion of the monthly premiums on behalf of the employees that take healthcare insurance. That rate currently is $386, and it represents the lowest premium option that's available to school district employees. And so whether that number will need to be increased, I would suspect it probably will. We'll recommend that be increased so we maintain that particular benefit for our employees, and we'll present that next month. Any questions?
In a waiting game.
Ready?
Yes, we're ready for the property taxable values released.
All right, I just give you a revised handout because since the preparing this for the board book, TEA has released their compression, M&O compression calculator. And the original one that I had for you, let's see, that's right here. This good old spreadsheet here. The one you want to look at is the column on the far left, which is 2021. And that represents the preliminary taxable values that have been released by the tax appraiser office of Coryell and Bell counties. And you'll see there that the certified property net taxable values have gone up about 87 million from last year for a 9% increase. The freeze adjusted has gone up 65 million. The actual tax frozen went up from 1,109,000 to 1,267,000. And then here is where the M&O tax compression takes effect. So with the originally, before the tax compression calculator was released, that's the number that you have in your board book. M&O tax rate, which is equal to last year, was 93.75, 93 cents, 0.75. Now with the M&O compression, and that's assuming, of course, that the certified values, which will be issued by the appraiser's office in later July, will hold. And if those rates still hold, then our compressed rate will be 88.24. So it's going to go down from 93.75 cents to 88.24 cents. Pretty good drop. And that's as a result of the property values going up. When the property values go up, they protect the taxpayers by compressing the tax rate. The INS tax rate will still stay the same. That's the tax rate that we collect on behalf of the two school bonds, including the elementary and the high school. So the actual tax levy is expected to be $10,663,000, which is a jump of 4%, a little over 4%. M&O is going to jump 3%, INS almost 10%. There again, because of the property values increase. So these are the preliminary values that have been issued, and we will see in July how close the certified values come to what we're presenting to you tonight. So nothing's a done deal until the certified values come out. This is just kind of a heads up. And you typically, the appraiser's office typically makes these predictions conservatively. So he wants to make sure that this is under actually what might be in July. So he doesn't want to overinflate it here at this point. Any questions about those rates? Compression is automatic. If you want to go up in taxes, you'll need to let me know. We can go up in taxes. You'll have to approve it, and so will the community. Had a local taxpayer asked me if we could raise our taxes so we can pay our teachers more. I said yes, and you got to get over two hurdles. One, you got to convince the board, and then you got to convince the public. So those are the two hurdles. TEA does provide some incentive for us to increase the rates, but that's not been a very popular thing for us to consider. But I just mentioned it, and that's what I told this person that I will mention it to you. I'll make the recommendation. At least you know. All right. No questions on that? And of course, I gave you a lot of years there. I gave you as many years as I could put on the sheet back, so you have quite a historical perspective on these property values and tax rates. Madam Chairman, you ready for the next one?
Yes, we are ready. The audit firm.
All right, the auditing firm. It's hard to believe, but this coming year will be the 5th year that since we did submit the audit for bids. And at that time, we, as a board and management, determined that about every 5 years, we like to review the audit firm, unless there's something that we don't like about the current service that we're getting from our firm.
So the current firm is Lott Vernon and Company. This next school year audit will be for August 31, 2021. And that will be the 5th year of this 5-year period. And we're recommending that we go ahead and engage the firm of Lott Vernon, which is out of Temple, to conduct our audit again this coming year. The fee is $24,000, just a few pennies above last year's fee. So quite reasonable. I'm very pleased with the services that they've provided to us. They've done an excellent job. It's a big monster of a task to do an audit, and especially preparing the audit report. You know, that's about 100 pages and there's a lot of detail in there.
And they are very thorough, and they make Daryl and his team jump through hoops. You know, for those days that they're here on site, they ask for files and they need it now, and so it's stressful on Daryl and his crew. So it's not just a ticky-tack rubber stamp. They put us through our paces. So thanks to Daryl and his crew for giving them everything they want.
And it actually starts in June. They already start sending us things to do next month. So that's why I won't put it on this month.
Don't they come here to do that? How many days? are
They do, not
Sometimes.
near as much as they used to.
Okay.
You know, like everything, especially last year with the COVID
Sure.
situation. I think they came here maybe only a couple days, actually. And the rest of it was done, you know, Zoom from their offices. But used to they'd come probably at least a week or 10 days and spend right here in the boardroom, work away. So our recommendation is that we go ahead and engage Lott Vernon for the 5th year. And we'll take another look at putting this out for bids next year.
Okay, is there a motion for that recommendation?
I'll make a motion.
Charles, and second by Linda. Any questions? Mr. Frazier? Okay, all those in favor, raise your hand. None opposed. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Mr. Frazier. You're going to stay up there, aren't you?
Thank you very much, Board. All right, next item is the board budget tax rate workshop. This is one you guys love every year. And I'm recommending that we schedule this one for Monday, August 9, which is 1 week prior to your regular August board meeting. And we usually do it a little earlier, at 5:30. Always, if you want to argue this for 6-7 hours, you can do so. Still have to bid by midnight. No, I'm just kidding. But this will be the time where you get to ask lots of questions.
Make the new ones get kind of nervous. At least 7 hours.
So hopefully that agrees with all your calendars. That's Monday,
Any
August
problems
9.
with the date? Anybody?
The budget's coming together pretty good so far. We've got all the departments except for administration. And you know who's doing administration? I wanted to get everything else in before the end of the school. So we got all the campuses and all the departments. So that's great. So we're coming along real well on getting the budget together.
So you're
August what?
9
9th? Okay.
at 5:30.
August 9th.
Is that a problem? Is the date okay with everybody? Okay. We sure don't want anybody to miss this 7-hour meeting. Okay. So, is there a motion for Mr. Frazier's recommendation of setting the date for our annual board proposed budget and tax rate workshop for Monday, August 9th at 5:30? Calvin, is there a second? Diane, any questions? All those in favor, raise your hand. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So at this budget workshop is where we set the preliminary tax rate, which is probably the ones I just gave you earlier tonight. And then that would go into a release that's sent to the paper after this meeting on August 9th. So that way you had an opportunity to comment on that rate before it's released to the public. More? Let's see, the next one is the public meeting to discuss and adopt the 21-22 budget and tax rate. So this meeting is near the very end of August each year. And we're required to get this done by the end of August. This is where we'll approve next year's school district budget, as well as the tax rate, officially approve the tax rate for the community. And we're proposing that we meet on Monday, August 30. I didn't have a time here. I'm thinking this is
I don't see a time.
Probably 5:30.
5:30ish. Does that sound good to y'all?
It's good.
This is usually a pretty short meeting, and we can either do it 5:30, 6:30, whatever.
Is
Y'all preference?
5:30 a problem?
We don't need that prior, you don't need to do it prior to the regular meeting. So
No.
we're gonna have 3 Mondays that,
Yeah.
I'm just making sure I understand. I
Yes.
thought we did it right before.
The
Okay.
night, the 16th.
Calvin, August is a hard month. Yes.
He's already getting.
I saw Calvin's face when Cheyenne said 3 Mondays. His face was like he went.
No, my thinking was, what was I thinking?
That's volleyball nights for him.
Yeah.
It's at this meeting too that we do, you know, like fund balance commitments for August 31. We do all those fund balance commitments at this meeting as well. I could have held it on August 31, the last day, but I don't know, so let's go ahead and get it done the day before the last day, if you guys are okay with it.
Cheyenne, do you prefer 5:30 or 6:30?
Oh, no, I don't mind
Any- okay.
earlier. I just was making sure I understood.
5:30?
5:30.
5:30.
Okay.
Is there a motion for this recommendation? August 30th,
Those cookies taste better at 5:30.
5:30?
I'll make a motion.
Charlie, second. Calvin? Any questions? All those in favor, raise your hand. Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Frazier. You have a bank
Okay,
deposit.
my last item for the night. District management is recommending to the school board that we submit our bank depository contract out for bids this year. We do have the option of one last 2-year extension, but there's been a lot of changes in the banking industry this past year or two, and we really feel that it's time to go ahead and move that bid up to this year rather than wait 2 years. So with your approval, we're going to be submitting our bank depository contract for bids. And there's, of course, one less bank in town than we used to have, so it's, the pool is shrinking. And we anticipate getting some out-of-town bids as well. So there's special arrangements that we would have to make should it be an out of city bank, but that might be an option. I'm just letting you know. So we'll just put it out for bids. As soon as you approve it tonight, I'm going to get to work on the bid package, and then we'll publicize it in the newspaper and on our website, and we'll see what rolls around. And the contract expires at the end of August, so we don't have a whole lot of time, but we got the summer to pretty much work on this, get it done. But it takes time to assemble the RFP package, to promote it, to get the bids in, to evaluate the bids, and come back to the board with our recommendation, and then for you to approve it, in time to get it submitted to TEA. We'd have to notify them anyway. They used to have to approve everything. Now they say we don't have to approve anything anymore. That's based on a Senate bill that was passed a couple of years ago. And the guy said, actually, there's not a whole lot for us to do in this office anymore. So, okay, we'll give you ours to review. I don't mind you reviewing it, but letting us know what you think about it, you know. So that's our recommendation, is that the school district submit its primary bank depository, which is currently with Bancorp South, for bids for the coming year. Actually, it's a 2-year contract starting September 1, 2021. I'll be happy to entertain any questions.
Is this profitable to those banks?
Who's what?
Is dealing with us much of a profit, or is it more of just a service?
Depends on who you talk to.
Oh,
Yeah, the smaller banks, I say it's not a profit, and it's not worth their while. They're not interested. That's kind of what some of the smaller banks are telling us. We've approached every bank here in town about whether there would be interest or not in bidding on this, and there is some interest. But like I say, the number of banks in Gatesville is shrinking, and we basically are left with two banks that can, two banks.
Security and
First National.
That can service our needs.
First National,
Bancorp South.
Bancorp South, First National, and Security.
I'll name them.
Well, that's fine, I just,
Yeah, Extra Coast
what
one,
you're doing.
and Bancorp is the other.
Yeah, I asked Daryl to go ahead and do this because as these big regional banks come in and gobble up the local banks, I want to make sure that we still have a personal relationship with not that we don't with Bancorp, but I think people come and go, and as a big Mississippi bank comes in, sometimes it changes the complexion and the nature of the banking relationship, and so I just want to make sure it's important to us to do business local. The local people we know and trust that we've known for decades, and so, I think that we'll have
What's
some
the name
interest.
of the event name?
First
First
National.
National. It's First National.
First National event?
No, there's one in Gatesville
First
too.
National Bank.
The one right out here, First National Gatesville. They come to all of our benefits fair and stuff.
It's Ronnie Sullivan.
Ronnie
Ronnie
Sullivan.
Sullivan.
Ronnie Sullins.
He's
That's
got
First
that
National event.
He's got this in here. and he's
There's
got
one in
over
Gatesville.
there.
There's
Yeah, it's in
two
Gatesville, but
locations,
it's
yeah.
called First
Yes,
National
right.
event.
Right.
They're not interested.
Yes, what I-
Okay,
They have no interest whatsoever.
Well, that was my question.
Yeah, we're contacted.
Because that would be like.
Of course, we don't have Texas First anymore, we don't have United National anymore either, so it's the two that went away, and Bancorp took over both institutions. So, there's basically two local banks that are interested in at least one bank that's nearby. So we'll have enough. I mean, sometimes some school districts in small communities can't even find a bank to bid. I'd hate to be in that predicament, but anyway.
Okay, Jimmy makes a motion for that recommendation. Is there a second? Linda? Any more questions for Mr. Frazier? All those in favor, raise your hand. Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Frazier.
Thank you, Board, appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Frazier.
Mr. Webb, memorandum of understanding with Workforce Solutions of
I'll
Central
be
Texas.
easy and quick. You guys doing all right tonight?
He doesn't want any money.
No money. This is free.
Yeah,
This is free right here.
I thought for sure that person was going
Donation.
touch this place.
Hey, it's because everybody else, when they want money, they come to me.
Yeah.
Anyways, this right here is just continuing our partnership that we have with Workforce Solutions of Central Texas. I guess about 2 years ago, they received a grant, and we have a specialist from that entity that comes in and works with our students a couple days a week. We provide office space, a phone line, internet access for them, and she comes in. Her name is Suzanne Sinke, and she comes in and works with our students in grades 8 through 12, doing presentations, looking at high growth and high demand occupations, skills assessments, doing some job shadowing, some different tours, industry tours. And so what this is just continuing this grant and this partnership with them to continue to be able to send Suzanne to Gatesville High School to meet with our kids. And so it's been a really neat thing that she goes into most of the CTE courses, and we'll meet with those classes. This is another 2-year agreement that will be signing through August 1st of 2023. Does anybody have any questions about that?
Anybody?
Okay. All right. Well, I'll go ahead and make the recommendation. Recommend that the board approve the memorandum of understanding for Workforce Solutions of Central Texas to continue to provide guidance to our students at Gatesville Junior High and High School.
Is there a motion for that? Linda? Second? Cheyenne? Any more questions for Cheyenne? Okay, all those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you.
Yes.
Now Shelley, okay. Hi Shelley, come on in. Interactive touch displays.
This item is about purchasing interactive flat panel displays for the high school classrooms. They are going to go along with our building renovations, and we are looking at upgrading all of our classrooms from what you see here is an interactive projector. We have, through a lot of research and through a lot of teacher input, we have moved to what is called an interactive flat panel. Looks like a TV, but it's not a TV. It doesn't have a tuner in it where you can get channels or anything. It's an interactive device. So with this request, we have currently around 22 of the devices currently in high school, and to finish the rest of the classrooms, that's what this request is for. So we had 5 vendors submit proposals for 42 additional more touch displays for the remaining classrooms. And as you can see, the quotes there that I had received from 5 different vendors. So my recommendation is to approve the purchase of flat panel touch displays from Second Gear with the quote of $73,000 and $73,944.
So this is in that same vein of, if I'm a high school teacher, I'm in an old classroom, I at least have furniture, TV, don't call it a TV, it's a flat panel, but it's a TV. Interactive flat touch panel. So again, it's to where the rooms are more consistent across the campus, to where I didn't get the shaft, and I'm in an old room with old furniture, old technology, old paint, old everything. So
there's a big difference in those bids.
Yes.
There is a very large difference in those bids, and you know, every bid, they are exactly apples to apples. They are not a different model either. They are the same model. We actually have asked for 36 65-inch and 6 of the 75-inch. And same vendor. I understand that sometimes the company will give a preferential bid to one of them. I can't tell you if they did or not, but we know all of the vendors that gave us the bids, and it is a very large difference, but they are all apples to apples. And so I don't know if this first guy's making any money on them, but he came up pretty far under, because we paid, gosh, $1,800 for these projectors, and these are coming up at $1,699 under. And our first set, when we first started purchasing them, they're around $2,000. So with the number of these, they came up to under $1,700 a piece on them. So.
What happened to all the old red little things that were on the
They are
carts?
the little ladybugs are
They still use
being
ladybugs?
used. Yes, they still use them, and they do attach to the flat panel very well. When you turn on the flat panel, it displays and it tells you, what's hooked up. I see a ladybug. I see your laptop. I see whatever device you plug in. It sees it, and they can touch and interact with it much easier. These are about 7 years old now, so time to upgrade. So moving into something that is doesn't require a bulb, doesn't require a filter, and the flat panels have a 5-year warranty, and these were at 3, and they also are a tempered glass and glare resistant. So
Better quality picture.
nice quality picture. You can be in the back, like, to me, I don't have my glasses on right now. This is a little bit blurry somewhat, but with the flat panel, the image is much better too.
Which co-op did we use? used a co-op for these?
We did 5 of these, 5 bids.
I know we used a co-op for one of them. When the Bible word.
On this particular one, they submitted was 5 because they were competing with the 5 bids.
Okay, but it wasn't a contract off of a co-op?
No, and he probably can, if I go back and ask him to put one, it would probably be tips,
Yeah,
if he listed the tips on there.
because an official has to be part of a co-op. Since it wasn't like an official bid, right? Did we submit bids on this? I mean, did we like promote this public?
No.
Okay, so it
No.
wasn't,
So
it
he
did
can
not
go
go
back.
through the bid process?
Yeah, he can put that tips
Yeah,
contract
so
on
in order
there,
to
yeah.
satisfy the board's policies on procurement, you would need some kind of a cooperative contract on that.
Okay, he can put that tips contract
You understand, of
number
course,
then.
you think 50,000 technically should be going by the bid process, according to board policy.
And this bid isn't,
Well, she got quotes, but it wasn't official bids,
okay.
where you promote RFP and all that good stuff.
Scott, will that be okay on the timeline if we do it next month? Or will that throw things off?
No, they can, he can go through the tips co-op.
Okay.
They're members of those things.
Okay.
Yeah,
Most of them are.
they just, if I go back and say, can you can you add this to a tips contract, he'll just send me this
Mhm.
same bid with the tips number on it.
Exactly.
And then it would be considered that, under that.
She's always going through cooperatives to
Right.
make her purchases.
All of mine are normally DIR or buy board or tips. This particular, some of the other vendors, like they put their contract on their buy board, so some of them put it under buy board.
So do we want to table this?
No.
No, I mean, it'll need a reference to a cooperative contract.
So she can just go back and do it?
The bid will be the same, yeah,
Okay.
he'll just put a contract
Okay.
number
So
on there.
we can
I just
make a
wanna assure the
motion
board.
contingent
Yeah.
on the tips.
Yeah.
I just wanted to assure the board
Yeah.
that the board policies are still intact and we have not violated the board policy of submitting
50,000.
these proposals,
Yeah.
which we can do through cooperatives. If we don't go through cooperatives, then we have to go out for official bids. And she didn't do the official bid for this. She went shopping with different cooperatives in effect.
So like what you said, Jimmy, the recommendation will be, the recommendation is to approve the purchase of flat panel touch displays from second gear, and we'll ensure that it goes through
Pending the tips
our
contract.
board. Tips
For that
contract
same price, I want
For
to
that
make
same
sure
price.
yeah, that's contingent upon
Of
that same.
$73,944. So Marcy, Tara, did y'all get that? We just kind of,
Contingent on
And it-
tips or what? How do you?
yeah, so
what is-
same verbiage.
Our tips are by board, I'll need to provide a contract number for that purchase order.
Here's my question. You have 42 additional rooms, is that correct?
Yes.
Are the teachers gonna be using one of these in every room? Why do you buy one if it's just gonna sit and the teacher's not gonna use it?
They use them.
Yeah, and I don't know that we have any
These are-
room that's gonna be vacant.
Right,
They're
these are,
outfitting, all the rooms are gonna be outfitted the same and will be used.
Yeah.
Any room
Is
that
the
they walk
teacher gonna
into.
use that? I'm not arguing that. I mean, some teachers say, I'm not gonna do that, and things just sit. So we've wasted how much those things cost.
I don't know anybody that doesn't use.
I mean,
Yeah.
if they're gonna use them, that's fine, but I hate to buy one and then it just,
Right.
at
It
this
just sits.
time, right, at this time, every teacher is using their interactive projector.
15 years ago, that might have been a situation where somebody said, I'm not touching, but we've gone so far the other direction that now it's like, if you took these away, they'd be a mob in the street saying, we want that back.
We have, all of the portables are outfitted with the flat panels right now, except 2. The 2 existing portables that we already owned had these projectors, and then the 12 portables that we installed have the flat panels right now. So before the the portables are moved, we're going to take those flat panels down and move them to other rooms to hang them in existing.
Kind of my thinking is, you've got 42 rooms, and there's a lot of different subjects being taught in all those rooms. And in some subjects, do they all use flat screens?
With remote learning, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they all had to make the dive. If they hadn't made the dive yet, they did this.
Granted, I mean, this is the way we're going.
Yeah.
But I hate to see us spend
Right.
money that's just not going to be used.
I can't think of anybody that's so obstinate against it that we would be like, well, why are we buying this person that? Because they're not going to use it. I can't think of anybody that falls into that category.
And our window to move in, we're still shooting for opening up the school on time.
Yes.
And so there's going to be a delay in getting these in because we're going to purchase them tomorrow. There may be up to a month delay to get all the new ones in. We're going to repurpose the ones we have. And so we're still trying to hit our window. And we will hit our window.
So, could you go over the recommendation again? Just so we have it all.
The recommendation is to approve the purchase of flat panel touch displays from Second Gear for the $73,944.
And we put
In
contingent
in
on
contingent.
Tips contract,
Upon, I would say, a state bid contract.
contingent on
A state
state
bid
contract.
Contract.
Okay.
Because if they come in and I call them tomorrow and say, I want the state bid contract number listed on the PO itself.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion for that recommendation?
I'll make it.
Charlie? And Jimmy seconds. Any more questions? All those in favor, raise your hand, please. Motion carries. Thank you, Shelley.
Thank you.
Shelley, thanks for finding us a good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
good price.
Okay, the school picture agreement.
All right, I've got the last 4 items here. They'll be quick. First one is talked about last month, Heather hit in the photography contract. So again, going local, that's kind of the trend here tonight. That's the thing I think is big in our community, go local. Live Touch had been a pretty good partner for several years, but here recently, their services had not been very good. And so Heather, we have really asked lots of questions, and every time we've thought of something, well, Live Touch used to do this, can you do that? The answer inevitably has been yes. And so we feel really good about Heather taking over. And so my recommendation would be for this coming 21-22 school year, even starting here in the summer, she'll start taking pictures of graduates for the coming year and all that good stuff. So she'll take care of all of our picture needs. So that would be my recommendation, is to go with Heather Hitt.
I think she'll do a good job.
She will.
Is there a motion for?
I
Yes.
move.
Okay, Charles and Calvin seconded. Any questions? All those in favor, raise your hand. Yeah.
Thank you, yeah. Heather will be excited. She's gonna be a good partner.
Well, she's always taking pictures.
Yeah, she does all, like, the little youth camp, basketball photos, baseball, football, everything. Yeah, she does a great job.
Okay.
So next is Frost Driving School. I guess it was a couple of summers ago, I came to you guys, we had gotten away from the traditional driver's ed. A lot of times parents do it now, and oftentimes parents will come up to me and say, Bear, we really don't have the temperament to teach our child how to drive. And so they'd like to have a traditional driver's ed type of program. And so Frost is out of the Belton, Harker Heights area, and it's a good little program. And so they were here, and pre-pandemic, they'd hold sessions at the primary PD rooms at night, kind of along about the same evenings GED used to be out there. And so we had small groups of kids that would take that and take advantage of it. So we want to renew that contract with them. It's the same contract they provided last time. They asked for our own teachers to do some of the teaching of the instruction. And so it's a good way for our teachers to make a little extra money. And so we've already given them a few names of folks that said, hey, I'll teach driver's ed. And so we're hoping to get that partnership going again here soon. So my recommendation is to renew the partnership with Frost Driving School so we can get driver's ed courses offered at GHS again soon.
Okay. Calvin makes that motion. Second, anybody? Cheyenne? Any questions? All those in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. Thank you. Conclude the COVID-related leave policy.
Yes, these last two items are COVID-related, and first we want to thank the board for being very generous with the leave policy. That really helped our people this past year when they had to quarantine, or they had the illness itself, or they had to take care of somebody with the illness, and of course the federal government, they kind of nixed that 10-day coronavirus thing pretty early on. I guess it was around Christmas, New Year's, that they said, okay, no more. But we went ahead and said we're going to make a commitment for the rest of the school year. But we feel like now with the mass vaccinations, that we're hoping that we're not going to need that, more streamlined contact tracing. And so, you know, we feel like we want to go ahead and get away from that and go back to our normal leave policy. We're trying to get back to a more normal state. Now, if for some reason we have staff members missing tons of work because of COVID, we may come back to you, but I feel like that right now we want to try to start the year with a more normal state of affairs. And so we currently have about 3 to 4 COVID cases right now. We had 0 cases for about 2.5 months, and we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 cases all in one hand for the past couple weeks. And so
Kids or teachers?
both kids and teachers. And so I feel like the ones that had it are recovering. They hadn't been like severe illness, and so we're hopeful to try to get back to more normal, but we appreciate the generous leave during that time. And like I said, if things go haywire and we're like desperate for, okay, we need those days back, we'll come to you, but right now we want to try to start the year without it. So my recommendation is to conclude that COVID-related leave policy that was enacted during the 2021 school year.
Is there a motion? Linda? Second? Charlie? Okay.
Which one?
One of the Charles. Charlie. Okay, any questions? All those in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. And lifting of the student and staff mask
So we
requirement.
have a standing ovation on that one.
Yeah. So our students, they and staff, they did a good job. They suffered through the last couple months and kept wearing the mask, and it did help when we had a couple of the kids get it to where we didn't have to quarantine a bunch of people and miss. Well, you're not going to get to go to the dodgeball tournament, or you're not going to get to go to prom, so we avoided all that. That was I guess the payout or the benefit. But we feel like now there's been so few cases. Dr. Winchell said that Coriel Health was approved for vaccinations for 12 on up. And so if you're a family that's concerned about your child getting that, and maybe you've got a child with some sort of autoimmune issue or something, you've got access to that now. And so if you're not concerned about it, then you're not going to be worried about it. And so I think that we've got a solution now to where we no longer need to wear the mask. So my recommendation would be start it immediately. That we would start tomorrow. Cheyenne Union Express graduation. We don't want to be wearing the mask in the 100-degree heat if it's dry enough to actually do it outside. And so the kids will be appreciative, be able to take them off this week, and then
I want to be standing in the hall when the principal says, "You might remove
yes,
the
yeah.
mask." I hear the roar.
And so that'll help. I've tasked the high school principals with the men students shaving and the female students taking the nose rings out. And so they'll have, now that the masks are gone, they can't conceal it. And so the party's over in a sense, Charles. But we're hopeful that, again, families that are worried about children needing it, I think at some point the vaccinations may be down all the way to, little bitty. But again, that's all optional. That's all up to the family. We're not trying to force that on anybody, but it will be available. But I think that now's the time to lift the mask for the athletic camps in the summer and all that good stuff. So my recommendation is to lift it starting May 18th, moving forward into the summer and the next school year. It'll be optional. Jimmy?
Is making that motion.
I wanted to make the motion.
Let's all make it.
Diane seconded. Any questions for our superintendent? All those in favor, raise your hand.
Staff will be very happy, and so will kids.
Motion carries.
Does it start right now? I thought
It's, yep.
I was actually asked that question, are y'all gonna vote on that board meeting?
If you want to continue wearing one, you are certainly allowed.
Absolutely.
When I got my vaccination, I quit.
And that makes sense. That's what the CDC has said. If you've got the vaccination, why would you need to wear it? So
Okay, is that it?
that was it, other than just the blurb I made about graduation, kind of in that same vein. You know, we're hoping that we can do it outside. We're especially coming off the heels of doing it at the drive-in last year. I think everybody is wanting to have a normal one, although that was a very memorable one. I think that those kids will look back and say, hey, we're the only ones that had it at the drive-in. But if it rains like it did today, you know, if it mists, we're going to be out there. If it's a deluge with lightning and torrential downpours, we're going to have to go inside.
To the gym,
Now, where are we gonna meet? That was my mess up.
So if it's dry and it's outside, we will meet like we always do. That parking lot,
Technology.
technology classroom.
Technology, okay.
So you
They're
can,
gonna decide Friday. When are you deciding?
Friday.
Friday, okay.
Yeah, so we're preparing to have, like the kids will each get 5 tickets, just in case, because we gotta be prepared to do it inside Friday, because it may very well happen that way. But then, we're hoping to do it outside. The auditorium could be like a overflow, to where you could probably watch it on the screen and be right next door to them. But that's still not as good as being in the seat. But if you've got 10 family members and only 5 can come in the gym, you know, maybe some of them could go to the auditorium or.
that was my problem, and we had to get in the gym.
There's 9 seats.
Not enough seats. That's all we had.
Okay, well, we will adjourn our regular, well, wait a minute. We're gonna take a little break and have the executive session
Yes,
back there
yep.
in Barrett's office.